Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 15th, 2018. I'm Keith Tebow. On tonight's show, we give you more information as the proposed BMC Durfee High School construction project referendum is up and coming very soon. We have details about the results of the United Way's fundraising campaign for 2017, and we have a state legislator's view as the proposed South Coast Rail project continues to move in the permit processing stage. But first, let's check in with our news headlines of the week. We bring in Will Richmond, the digital editor of the Herald News. Will, welcome.
Thanks, Keith. Good to see you again.
Yeah, same to you. Unfortunately, not a good way to start our newscast this week. The first homicide in the city of Fall River took place yesterday afternoon as a 24-year-old man was shot and killed on South Main Street near Morgan Street yesterday afternoon around 4:30. Police in Fall River, working with the state police and the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, quickly mobilized, made an arrest of a 19-year-old man, and that man was supposed to be before a judge today on a murder charge. The death yesterday of 24-year-old Maurice Timberlake, and the person arrested, 19-year-old Keyshawn Workman. Do we have any updates, Will, either from the courtroom today about the processing of the individual and what may have been a motive in this case?
Sure. Well, at this point, as we film this on Thursday afternoon, the arraignment was expected to take place almost any time now.
Okay.
Originally, it was scheduled to take place in the morning, but that was before they upgraded the charge against the individual to murder.
Right.
Typically, when that happens, it means they have to get an attorney to come down from Boston or Brockton, who is qualified to handle murder cases in these situations. So that's pushed it to the afternoon. We're expecting it to begin any time now here on Thursday afternoon. So those details on motive and the exact what happened on Wednesday afternoon, we'll be learning about shortly, hopefully.
Yeah, so there's really, not much to report other than that, there were witnesses of the gunshots right near the TA restaurant in Fall River. That's the part of downtown area where this took place. Again, 4:30 in the afternoon, still light. And so there was a lot happening yesterday, and we'll continue to have more information as it becomes available. But again, it was disappointing that we do have our first homicide in the city of Fall River in 2018. And when we have more, again, both the Herald News and FRC Media News will be providing updates. City Councilor Stephen Camara, Will, in the news again. He had been in the news over the past couple of years due to some of the rental property that he owns in the city of Fall River, and it just happened that two separate incidences which involve some of his properties were up in the news this week. One, earlier, I believe it was in 2016 and maybe even 2015, Councilor Camara had been cited by the city for not making payments to a federal community development mortgage loan that he has secured for one of his properties. He had, at that point, made amends and paid that up. Well, again, just recently, the councilor was in arrears for December, January, and February, and that sends a red flag from the Community Development Office to say, to track that down and have that payment come forth. Fill us in on this issue first in terms of Councilor Camara and his excuse for not paying the mortgage right away, and whether he will move forward and pay these mortgage payments.
Yeah, coming from community development, this is a federally funded agency, so there's a lot of regulations that are in effect in terms of payments and that kind of thing. As you mentioned, he was 3 months back. His explanation was that because there are no late fee charges that come on this mortgage, he chose to pay the mortgages on other properties first and would deal with these payments later when he had those funds available. But basically, just sort of the excuses is he's balancing his checkbook. He's going to tackle the ones that come with late fee charges first, and he'll deal with these ones later. But as noted, this is from a federal program administered by the city, so certainly it's as a city official, may not be the best look for someone to be 3 months behind once again on these kinds of payments.
Right, and he did say he will be making the payments in short order. As you said, his main excuse was that he had other properties that he was paying mortgages on that did have some penalties. This federal loan did not have necessarily much of a penalty in terms of being late, so that's why he was putting off the payments of these loans. Also, Councilor Camara, in the news around the city's nuisance ordinance. Last year, the city councilor was fined for his property on Pine Street. The city has an ordinance in place where if police activity is at a specific location over a period of time, over a number of issues, that the owner of the property could receive a fine for not taking swift action in terms of taking care of the issues that warranted the police appearance at such property. And City Councilor Camaro had been cited on 2 occasions in the past for a fine of upwards of $1,000 each. This week, the city's Corporation Counsel's office sort of ruled on an appeal by Councilor Camara. One of the issues was dropped, so one of the $1,000 fines was dropped. The other one was not. If you can fill in the details, Will.
Yeah, so you had the one fine dropped. The Corporation Council cited that they recognized efforts by Councilor Camara to serve evictions and to make changes at that property, so they agreed to drop that fine. However, they have decided to continue the other one moving forward, and they are, advancing that fine towards him for $1,000. Councilor Camara says he will appeal that one as well. So we'll have to see where that one turns out. But yeah, a couple of properties that he's run into problems with, whether it's nuisance issues or mortgage issues, but this has been an ongoing issue for a couple of years now that he continues to deal with.
Right. And according to the nuisance ordinance, just so people who are aware, it was passed in 2010, and it requires the police department to document 3 or more declared nuisance activities in a 60-day period. At that point, a warning is then given to the homeowner, who has 10 days to respond to police and create a plan to mitigate the problems. If that is not successful, and in this case, the city is saying that Councilor Camara did not do this, then a fine would be imposed, and that is what happened on a couple of occasions. According to the article in the Herald, one of the properties, again, Camara's Pine Street property, in 2016 had a total of 19 calls to that property and a violation of another 17 in 2015. So there's been problems at that location in the past. All right, well, finally, we've talked a lot about, we will continue over the next couple of weeks to talk about the referendum coming up on March 6th for voters to decide whether they would vote to override Proposition 2.5 to pay for a new BMC Durfee High School. The city is set to receive funding from the state to do so, and yesterday it was official that the state Massachusetts School Building Authority did vote to provide funding for the new Durfee High School and upwards of over $160 million. So it's official. If the city moves forward, they'll get money from the state, correct?
Yep, we have now reached that point. The state end of it is completed. As you mentioned, the MSBA Board of Directors voted yesterday. So things are going well there. And now we'll wait for the city to make their decision on March 6th. And
in conjunction with that, we are pleased to announce that 1 week from today, on Thursday, February 22nd, at 6:30 p.m., FRC Media and the Herald News will be co-sponsoring a forum where both sides of the referendum issue will have their chance to pitch their case to the voters. That will be next Thursday, February 22nd, at 6:30 p.m. It'll be held right here in FRC Media studios. It will be live on Channel 95, FRC Media and FRC TV. We'll also be streaming it live on Facebook. One important note, the forum will be closed to the public. We will not allow anyone in our studio other than Will, who will be our moderator, and our participants, one from each side, one in favor of the referendum and one opposed. So, Will, this is going to be really the only formalized forum, if you will, to discuss the issue. And I know we're glad to help out, and I'm sure the Herald News as well, to try to get people informed as we head toward March 6th.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think we've heard a lot from both sides. There's been a lot social media campaigns, appearances at city council meetings, but it'll be a nice opportunity with just a couple weeks remaining until the vote to get both sides in the room, let them hash this out. I think this will be less of a debate sort of situation than a conversation that involves both sides, so that we can have this all heard in one location at one time and share that with viewers and interested voters.
Right. So it'll be interesting. Again, 1 week from today, right after this newscast at 6:30, you'll be able to watch it live here on FRC TV Channel 95 and on Facebook. All right, Will, what else is coming up at the paper?
Sure. This weekend, we bring you inside the old Capitol Theater. There's a new owner who is taking it over, and they were kind enough to take us inside the building this past week, show us around, and talk a little bit about what their plans are for the site. It's been a long time since that has been open to the public. Many different owners have tried. So maybe this one will be the successful attempt, but I'll take you inside the building and let you know what's happening there in the future.
All right, well, sounds good. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, thanks for having me, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. School Administrative Manager. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is looking for a full-time school administrative manager responsible for overseeing and coordinating non-instructional administrative duties within grade-level offices at Durfee High School. Job number 10236662. Certified Nursing Assistant. People Incorporated, located at 4 South Main Street, is in need of a full-time certified nursing assistant to work with medically involved individuals in a 24-hour supported home environment. Job number 10228491. Mechanical Engineer. Liberty Utilities, located at 36 Fifth Street, is looking for a full-time mechanical engineer to perform the engineering and design function of the operation of gas facilities for the company. Job number 10237005. Burlington Coat Factory, located at 181 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, is looking to fulfill the following part-time positions. Cashier Associate, job number 10238757. Customer Service Associate, job number 10238786. Amazon Fulfillment Center, located at 1180 Innovation Way, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions. On-site Medical Representative, job number 10228928. Yard Specialist, job number 10233238. For more information on these or other positions, visit jobquest.detma.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000. As Fall River voters prepare to vote on the fate of a new BMC Durfee High School, FRCmedia is partnering with the Herald News and hosting a forum presenting both sides of the issue. Join us on Thursday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. as we televise a forum live from our studios at Bristol Community College. This will be the only organized forum leading up to the referendum on March 6th. This event is closed to the public. The only way to watch is to tune in to FRC TV Channel 95 or online on our FRCmedia Facebook page. Be an informed voter. Watch our Durfee High School Referendum Forum on Thursday, February 22nd.
Welcome back. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of the discussion in Fall River is around the March 6th special election, scheduled to ask voters if they wish to override Proposition 2.5 in order to help pay for the construction of a new BMC Durfee High School. The pros and cons on this issue are flooding news and social media sites, and FRC Media News is here to provide some of those messages. We caught up with school committee member Tom Corey, who encourages voters to vote yes.
As far as bang for the buck is concerned, for the city of Fall River and its kids, then I think a new school would absolutely propel education into the 21st century in Fall River, and it would be a magnet for incoming business, hopefully I just see it as a positive plus for the city. But with that being said, the counterpoint here is the cost of the building, and I know a lot of people are questioning the cost of this building. Let's see what the final numbers look like at the city council meeting. Let's continue this debate, but I'm putting out a moral plea for the citizens of Fall River to understand the positives in this project and to see it as Fall River moving forward into the 21st century, and I'm hoping that we can make that happen.
Have you talked to any of the city councilors to get their feel on the situation?
Not specifically. I've gone to the city council meeting to support Superintendent Matt Malone because he's so positively working hard to forward this project.
It's also no secret, though, that others, including City Councilor Steve Camara, has reservations about a new school being built at the current Ellsbury Street location. Councilor Camara has voiced his concern that a new building should be located in a more centralized location in Fall River. That opinion, however, goes against the grain of school committee member Paul Coogan, who looks back in time to the 1970s when the Ellsbury Street site was first constructed.
Before they built the one I went to was the old one on Rock Street. The new one on Ellsbury Street, they should have cited it better at that time. I look at a school like Henry Lord. I mean, they cited that on the state line. That didn't make sense to me either. That should have been up near Maplewood Park somewhere. I think school citing after it's already done is extremely difficult to fix. I believe now, if we moved off of the present location on Ellsbury Street, where the fields are, where the gym's going to be, where the access is for all the schools, our kids that go to Bristol Community College on dual enrollment, it's right up the street. Is it the perfect place to site the high school? I wouldn't have put it there if I was designing a city, but that's where it is now, so we got to make the best of what we already have.
South Coast Rail is closer to becoming a reality. According to officials at the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Phase 1 of the project will provide service from New Bedford, Fall River, and Taunton going to and from Boston, using the Middleborough secondary line and existing Middleborough-Lakeville commuter rail line. 7th Bristol District State Representative Alan Sylvia says South Coast Rail will be a reality, especially since it was one of the first topics Governor Charlie Baker brought up during his recent State of the State address.
To me, it's one of the most important things for Fall River. It means an easy flow and a means of getting to Boston within less than a 2.5-hour period of time that we do today. So that will lessen that time. It will also make it more accessible to others who want to live here, live on the South Coast, live in the Fall River area, who find the rents and cost of living in Boston so expensive. A one-bedroom apartment for $1,200 to $1,500 a month in Boston, on the outskirts of Boston, is very high when we look at the cost of living here in Fall River and on the South Coast. So that will bring more people to our city. It will make, of course, development of business, economic development, easier because of the flow of individuals that can get here to work. So it means an awful lot to Fall River.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Schools will be closed in Fall River February 19th through the 23rd for winter vacation. Here are some community activities that children can enjoy that week. The Fall River Public Library is hosting several special events at its main branch at 104 North Main Street. On Tuesday, February 20th, the library hosts a Snowy Owl craft and story time from 1 to 2 p.m. Children ages 3 and up are invited to hear the story Owl Babies and make their very own snowy owl using feathers and paper tubes. On Wednesday, February 21st, Animal Instincts Aquarium and Pet Shop will present a Wild Winter live animal show. Meet furry, feathery, and scaly pets and learn how they survive during the winter. The show will take place from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and is recommended for children ages 4 and up. On Thursday, February 22nd, children ages 6 and up can can make a snowflake charm bracelet with beads and charms and watch a short animated film based on the book Brave Irene by William Steig. This event will be held from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. On Friday, February 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., children are invited to play Storybook Bingo, a game of bingo with a storybook character twist. Books and other prizes will be awarded. Admission to the library events is free. For more information, go to fallriverlibrary.org. Incorporated is offering 2 evening events during school vacation, a family bowling night and a family movie night. On Tuesday, February 20th, families with a DDS eligible member can enjoy a light dinner and bowling at AMF Lanes in Somerset, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. On Thursday, February 22nd, DDS-eligible adults 18 years and older and their families are invited for pizza, popcorn, and a screening of the Lego Ninjago movie. This event takes place from 5 to 7 p.m. at 4 South Main Street in Fall River. Space is limited at both People Incorporated events, and attendees must RSVP by February 13th. Call 774-488-5332. On Saturday, February 24th, Battleship Cove presents You Sunk My Battleship, a nautical and World War II gaming day. Watch professional and hobby gamers play popular nautical and WW2 games, or compete yourself in board game tournaments of Battleship and Risk. Video game stations will be set up for free play. This event will take place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 5 Water Street in Fall River. For more information, call 508-678-1100.
So today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have Jasmine. She is a domestic short-hair tuxedo cat. She also has a little bit of red patches in there. It looks pretty cool when she sits in the sun. So this sweet girl is about 8 years old. She came to us on the 16th of January. She is vocal, so she will talk back to you every so often, and she'll let you know how she feels about things. All she really wants is attention. Some distinguishing features about her is obviously that little half mustache she has on her face, and a little bit of red patch in there. She's also a little thick girl. She loves her food, does not discriminate, and if those eyes don't say it, she's the sweetest thing around.
So today at Forever Paws we have Miles. He's a 4-year-old pit bull. He's been here since the middle to the end of December. He came in as a stray. He's a really good boy. He's very hyper and energetic, and we do have him listed as preferably going to a household with no children because of his excitability and jumpiness. He loves treats. He can play catch with them pretty well. Miles, catch. There you go. So if you'd like to come see him, you can come down to Forever Paws. We're at 300 Linwood Street, Fall River, Mass, and we're open every day to the public, 11 to 4, except for Wednesdays.
As Fall River voters prepare to vote on the fate of a new BMC Durfee High School, FRCmedia is partnering with the Herald News and hosting a forum presenting both sides of the issue. Join us on Thursday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. as we televise a forum live from our studios at Bristol Community College. This will be the only organized forum leading up to the referendum on March 6th. This event is closed to the public. The only way to watch is to tune in to FRC TV Channel 95 or online on our FRC Media Facebook page. Be an informed voter. Watch our Durfee High School referendum forum on Thursday, February 22nd.
Welcome back. The United Way of Greater Fall River is ending its 2017 fundraising campaign. According to Executive Director Robert Horn, the organization's goal for the year was $1.25 million. Currently, the campaign is about $25,000 short, but Horn believes the goal will be reached by the end of the month, adding the funding will be put to good use.
Well, our mission is to provide an opportunity for individuals to give to one location, the United Way, so that we can make an informed decision about who we fund, and we sort of provide a good housekeeping seal to donations to assure our donors that we're making the right decision to organizations that are fiscally responsible and providing good services in the community.
And what are some of those services that you feel are important as the United Way representative?
Well, several of the programs that we fund are for education, helping support kids in the schools and tutoring. There's a program at Sir Jobs, which is one that we fund through our Community Impact Grant program, where individuals, adults would go to the programs and leave their kids at home. But through the program that we fund, they allow them to bring the children into while they're going through an education process, the kids get tutoring. We'll be allocating the money to the agencies in late in February into March. It's a really involved process which allows donors to participate in where the money goes. It's not money, staff does not make the decisions, it's all volunteers.
Who are the volunteers that make this decision, and how do they actually arrive at it?
Well, we have a number of volunteers from the banks and the companies and individuals in the community, and we go through a review process with the agencies. They provide financial information, provide support for the programs that they're funding. So again, we can reassure our donors that we're making the right decisions. But about 60% of what we raise is through payroll deduction at the local companies. We have three or four foundations that provide support. And individually, they can contact us, look at our website, and there are many ways to give. We have a number of agencies that we support that range from birth to death, preschool programs up to hospice outreach at the VNA, and anywhere in between.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and online 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.